So, door dashing as an introvert. So, an introvert is a person that isn't very outgoing. They're kind of quiet. They don't have a very large friend group. They're most happy when they're alone most of the time, or just with one person or so. Those are pretty much the characteristics of an introvert. I've always kind of been introverted myself. Just growing up in a small family and not having a very large friend group, but that never bothered me. I was happy with the friends that I have. And in my opinion, what's the point of having a huge friend group when you're really only good friends with just a few of them, and the rest of the people are just there, just kind of taking up your time? You never really get to know those people anyways. So having a really close bond with people is more preferable for me. But when it comes to door dashing and you're introverted, it can be good and it can be bad. Some of the good things is that you really don't have to interact with customers all that much because of how the system works now after the pandemic. We really just drop off at the door and we just leave it there. We never really have to talk to the customers all that much. Yeah, there's some times where there has to be interactions where you're talking to the customer, but all in all, you're pretty much just mainly in your car most of the time while you're working. I would say probably 70% of the time. So that makes it a lot better if you're introverted and you really don't want to talk to that many people, because in most service industry jobs, you're just going to have to talk to people nonstop. When I was at my last catering job, I had to always talk to people and always had coworkers to talk to, and I really liked my coworkers. They were really cool, but sometimes it can be really annoying when you just want some quiet time or some peace to yourself while you're at work, and you just can't get that. So door dashing is really good in that sense, but it can cause a lot of problems if you're introverted. Say when it comes to picking up orders at a restaurant, and you have to kind of be dominant and assert yourself because the restaurant employees are just going to ignore you if you're not. So that can be a big issue if you're introverted, because you don't want to really speak up. You don't want to have to go outside yourself to get the orders because you're just not very extroverted in the first place. So it's going to be hard for you to just be outgoing in general. So that can be pretty problematic. And it could also cause problems if you're lost and you need to call the customer to find directions, because most of the times introverts don't want to talk on the phone. They don't really want to talk to anybody. So what they'll do is they'll probably text instead, which is gonna cost them a lot of time, because calling a person is just gonna be a lot faster than texting. When you text, you're just gonna be wasting time waiting for responses, and that's gonna take money out of your pocket because we only get paid by the order and not by the hour. So you really got to think about those things if you're introverted and you want to start doing DoorDash. Yeah, some of the traits of being introverted would be being passive aggressive. So if you're passive aggressive, that means you're going to do things a little underhanded. So when it comes to a problem, say there's an item missing on the order, instead of just asking the customer or asking the employee if they could substitute the item, if you're introverted, you might just say screw this and unassign the order, which is a very passive aggressive move, because really in the long run you're just hurting yourself. I used to do this a lot when I first started working, and I realized how much money I was losing by unassigning the order, and now I'm wasting a lot more time trying to pick up another order. So instead of being passive aggressive, I just tell either the customer or the employees if they can substitute the item. That way I can still complete the order and I'm not losing out on money at that point. Being introverted, it's just going to be a little bit rougher for you because of the problems of dealing with customers and the employees. Some of the employees can be very outgoing and extroverted. So when you get in a scenario where an employee just starts talking your head off and you're just like, oh my God, will you please shut up and just give me my freaking order? You finally get in your car and you escape that person, and it's just a huge relief off your shoulders just to be able to get away from that person. I had a situation like that earlier. The person just wanted to talk and talk. I just really wanted to get my order so I could get out of there. But on the plus, you're gonna have a lot easier time working longer hours because you don't have a lot of friends just hitting you up all the time. Because that could really be a distraction if you're trying to work every single day, because you're really trying to make the most amount of money in a short period of time. And that's the best part about DoorDash. You can work up to 75 hours a week, 80 hours a week, without employers getting on your ass about getting overtime or anything like that. So being able to work as much as possible within a short period of time is really beneficial if you really want to make a lot of money in that amount of time. But yeah, some problems can arrive if you're introverted, and let's say a customer calls you because you dropped off at the wrong door, or you forgot to bring them their drink or something like that. If you're introverted, you're really not going to want to take that call because you know it's just going to cause problems. When I worked with a partner before, she was very extroverted, so taking those types of calls for her wasn't a problem at all. She would just answer the phone, and if the person was mad or bitched her out, she was able to calm them down and talk them out of being upset, because that was just the type of person that she was, and she was very extroverted, so it was really easy for her to do that. But as an introvert, you're just gonna have a lot harder time just trying to do those types of things. So it could really hurt you in the long run, especially if you're working Uber Eats and the customer can take away your tips, because you don't want to be driving around all day just having small issues come up that you could have just fixed by talking to the customer. And now, since you weren't able to talk to the customer because you're introverted and you just get your tips taken away from you, that's really shitty, and you're just going to lose a lot of money that way. All in all, I would say that being an introvert isn't really a bad thing, but it's not really a good thing either. It's just kind of neutral, I guess. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Those are just kind of my thoughts about being introverted. Give me a like and subscribe. That would really help me grow my channel. If you feel like you have some similar scenarios or some extra comments about being introverted, just drop them in the comment section below. But yeah, thank you guys. Stay positive and motivated out there, and keep working your hardest.